That means without having a teacher,
Yeah, definitely.
someone who has found it by himself.
Yeah, self-awakened one. Yeah, see, this is,
Self-awakened, yeah.
yeah, I think you can also use that way, like perfectly self-awakened one, or yeah, that's another way of translating. So see, um, this is another thing that we want to learn with all of us. If we have some, these are popular translations, so we can correct some of them to the best possible way that we all can agree. All right. And again, this is a very basic Pali class, so we don't want to go so much into complications, but it's good that we keep that in mind. Thank you so much, Janaki, for pointing that. Okay, now let's go to another very popular Pali sentence. Anyone wants to read this?
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Wonderful.
That's right.
Okay. Yeah, Ananda Bodhi.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Okay. Aya Satima.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Buddham saranam gacchami.
I can go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, you all can try.
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Okay, thank you.
Buddhang saranang gacchami.
Wonderful. It resonates like a Tipitaka chanting. Under the Bodhi tree, I think, in Buddha Gaya, there is a Tipitaka chanting, and where we find people from different countries with different beautiful accents. They chant the Pali Tipitaka. So wonderful. Okay. Anyone else wants to try? Yes, yes. Kaira, can you try again? I think I didn't hear you. Okay, wonderful. How about your brother? You want to try too?
I suppose so. Buddham saranam gacchami.
Beautiful. May I also ask our friend from Turkey? Can you try? Are you still there?
Buddham saranam gacchami.
Wonderful. Your name is Logos, right?
No, it's Alijan. I'm sorry, it's written like that there. I will fix it the next time.
Okay, you can rename it. You can right click and rename. Yeah. Okay. Amrut, do you want to try?
Before I go, is it Saranam or Sharanam?
Saranam. Oh, good question.
Saranam. Okay.
Because in Pali we have only one sa sound. In Sanskrit we have three sa sounds. So in Pali it's the simple saranam.
Buddham Saranam Gacchami.
Yeah, beautiful. I hear it like Goenkaji's chanting. Beautiful. Okay. Buddhang saranang gacchami. So here we have, you can see some diacritical marks. In Pali we have 41 letters in fact. So because of that we have, in English we have 26 letters. So we have to use some diacritical marks to represent different sounds. So Buddhang, when we say at the end we have M with dot. Sometimes they use dot underneath, sometimes they use dot on the top. So we will maintain this underneath. Okay, and na also there are two nas. One is dantaja, the other is thaluja. We will discuss more about them later on. I think if you have watched the video that I have shared with you, you already know this, why it is there, dot underneath. And these are like buddhang. It's like a nasal sound, and you don't really close your lip when you say like Amrut. I heard him pronouncing like buddham. You don't have to close your lip, you have to open it, buddhang. Okay, but when we have other mer sounds, we can actually close our lip. Here, buddhang saranang gacchami. In actually our ordinations, we have to, when someone wants to become a monk or a nun, bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, they also have to repeat this with both ma sound and ang sound. So they have to say buddhang saranang gacchami and also buddham saranam gacchami. I think that
And
is
why is that?
emphasize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that is to emphasize. You want to really focus on what you say. Yeah, that's why we do it. Okay, so buddhang means to the Buddha, saranang is refuge, gacchami is I go. This is simple translation. I go to the Buddha as refuge, because this is the confidence in the teacher, in the spiritual master. So we complete confidence in my teacher, in my spiritual master, when we say that. So namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa 3 times, and then we have buddhang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha as my refuge. Okay, then if we replace the other one, that is Dhamma. Dhammang saranang gacchami. So it's easy now, to the Dhamma, to the doctrine, to the teaching. I go to the Dhamma as my refuge. So in Buddhism we have lots and lots of numerical lists, like 1s, 2s, 3s. You will see many numbers in Buddhism. 5 precepts, 10 precepts, 8 precepts. So like here, triple gem we call. So 3, so many things are there in numbers in Buddhism. I think Buddhism has more numbers than any other religion in the world. It's really wonderful. Probably they have been preserving this teaching in memory, so they have learnt it by heart. So probably these numbers could have helped them more better. Even today there are monks who are able to read the entire Pali Tipitaka by heart. 55 volumes. It's more than like 6 feet, and they can read everything by heart. I've seen some of the monks, especially in Myanmar, they have this wonderful tradition of learning by heart. Their heart is very clear in order to learn so much, absorb so many things, especially in this day era of distractions. They are able to focus, concentrate better, and they can learn the whole thing. They can recite the whole thing by heart. Really beautiful thing. Okay, and then we go to the next sentence. Sanghang saranang gacchami. So Sangha is the community. Community means like any community, can also be Sangha, yes, but it's usually here Sangha means the monastic community, the Buddha's monastic disciples, bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, who have taken oath, who have entered the sasana, what we call the Buddhist order, dedicated themselves as committed practitioners. Usually this is the Sangha here. In the West there are also different communities, different groups, they also call Sangha. That is also possible. But here when we say Sangha, this is the Sangha, the community dating back to the Buddha's time. Those wonderful Sangha members, especially those noble, if we say Arya Sangha, they are definitely the Sangha members, the enlightened masters, or those wonderful monks and nuns or bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who have accomplished what you call Magga Phalas, paths and fruition, Sotapanna, Sakadagami, Anagami, Arahanta, Magga and Phalas. So any of them who have attained these stages of sainthood can be called noble Sangha. Aya Ananda Bodhi?
I'm just curious because the first three levels of awakening, stages of awakening, can also be experienced by lay people, isn't it?
Yes.
So why
Once you attain those stages, whether you are a monastic or not, yes, you can be Arya, you can be noble disciple. Yeah, that's true.
So why is the refuge to the monastic Sangha? So it's not to the Arya Sangha, but to the monastic Sangha, or is it? Because I'm not.
So when we say Arya Puggala, they are the dedicated monastics. Arya Puggala can be anyone who has attained the path and fruition.
Right.
But when you say Arya Sangha, usually the monastic Sangha, that is different, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I see. So Sanghang, so refuge in the Sangha is really a specifically monastic Sangha, or specifically Arya monastic Sangha, which
especially Arya monastic Sangha, yes, but the others are also part of the Sangha. So when they say Sangha, it's the Sangha in the past, Sangha in the present, Sangha in the future. So that has been explained as those Sangha members who are going to appear in the future, even like namesake Sangha, but still monastic Sangha. They can also be included into this. It's like when someone, the rivers enter the ocean becomes one salty taste. All different rivers entering the great ocean, they become similar. So Arya is different. That adjective, if you have, you definitely become a noble disciple, and the other Sangha can become like Anarya Sangha if you have not attained. So if you offer something to the Sangha, like Imang bhikkhang bhikkhu sanghassa dema, it's not only those are noble Arya Sangha, but also the other Sangha. Those people, those monks and bhikkhus and bhikkhunis who have committed themselves to the path, they can also be Sangha. So now we learnt few more things, right? This one is a little more easier now. Dutiyangpi buddhang saranang gacchami. So dutiyang api. For the second time also, if you like literally translate, for the api means like also. Dutiyang. So why do we do that? Like Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami. That's enough, right? Why do we have like second time and then again third time? This is how we do it, like your commitment, you want to emphasize it, you want to re-emphasize it, reiterate your commitment. That's how we do it 3 times. Dutiyang pe buddhang saranang gacchami. So Dutiya or Dvitiya in Sanskrit, Sharanang in Sanskrit, but Buddhang and Gacchami, Pali Sanskrit are similar. So Dutiyang api, for the second time also, Buddhang to the Buddha, Saranang refuge, Gacchami I go. For the second time also, I go to the Buddha as refuge. I would like to invite you to give a better translation if you have. Okay, definitely we will have. If you like, maybe Janaki or anyone else who feel more comfortable in finding a better translation, you are welcome to suggest. Okay, but for others, just we want to like the translation of those every detail of those words. That's why we have these things here.